So Vivek is a senior director of sales at Danfoss Power Systems. And why I heard of Vivek on Teal Around the World. And the great thing about what Vivek has done is he's working within a large hierarchical organization. Is that right, Vivek?
Yep.
Yeah. He's working, so one department within a large hierarchical organization. It's the e-steering department. What does that do, Vivek?
Yeah, so the e-steering department is making the future steering solutions for off-road vehicles. So think tractors, combine harvesters, large machinery like those. The steering for those vehicles, as you know, like the automotive world where the Teslas of the world are making autonomous and electrified, same is happening actually faster on the off-road market. So that's
so it's the Tesla of farm equipment. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. And so what you've done is within that department, you've managed to create self-managing teams. Is that right?
Yes. So since 2017, we had started on this journey of establishing a self-managed team because this was created as a business unit at that point of time. Before that, it was like a R&D technology project that we were releasing those innovations to the world. And that was the time that, okay, now innovation is done. Now we need to start making a business out of it. And at that point of time, we felt really that to keep pace with all these changes that are happening on the technology front and to be closer to the customer, we needed to also organize ourselves differently.
So how did you enable a culture of trust and freedom within that huge hierarchy?
Actually, it is more about making people feel that the safety, psychological safety of that trust and ownership is real and not something that we say for fake. So one of the first things that I said to the team, for me, empowerment is not a word. I think it's an abused word too much by a lot of managers today. They say my team is empowered. I said, okay, then show me the 5 decisions that your team took which you did not agree with. And if you cannot show me those decisions, then I would say you're running by approval and not by empowerment. So I think the moment I said no and still the team execute, then the trust and ownership automatically comes.
Can you give an example of that, where you said no to something and they went ahead anyway?
So one of the things that during the Corona crisis, like everybody else, we lost almost 40% of our business overnight. And the overall big Danfoss organization said that all businesses had to make their own restructuring plan. Instead of unlike my fellow peers who were sitting in a corner with their finance controller, just the two of them making their notes of what to cut and not cut, I just turned towards the team and said, guys, this is the situation we are right now. How the business has turned. We need to make a plan. And one of our project managers, Ole Sorensen, he said, okay, I'll take the responsibility of creating the list of activities that we need to reduce. And he coordinated and came back with the list of proposals. And I said no to 3 of the topics that not there on that list because I felt that they might be hurting us our future. And the reaction was, but Vivek, you don't know the business as well as we do. So they went ahead and executed on that the list of projects irrespective. For me, it was more about the team commitment. So as long as the goal of what we had to deliver was met, the specifics of which topics and which projects were to be reduced, I left it fully to the team's trust.
Okay. And you give people lots of information, don't you? You give people financial transparency, is that right?
Yes, very much so. Not only financial transparency, but also we invested in financial literacy. I think it's funny, but a lot of businesses still don't have financial literacy in their teams, outside finance teams. You talk to engineers, they are like, what is this money thing and profit and loss thing and EBITDA thing? If you can buy houses and you can go on large vacations on your personal time, you can also think about understanding what a P&L is and how your actions or plans are going to impact.
Right. And how does performance management work? We've just heard about Helen's view. How does it work in e-steering?
Well, I just joined at the last few seconds of Helen's, so I'm not sure what Helen exactly said for her
Okay.
story.
Okay.
But from a engineering point of view, what we did first of all was to disconnect performance management and compensation, and to have honest performance feedback and dialogue in teams. So we set up this a facilitated 360 team based feedback instead of a manager employee feedback. I still remember one of the first sessions. One of our young ladies, Min, she was extremely uncomfortable and nervous going into that team feedback session, because not just that she was new in the team, but she has never had feedback before. And later on, we came to know actually the team was even more nervous than her in giving the feedback, because giving and receiving performance feedback or any kind of critical feedback is a skill in itself. So that's also something that we invested in the team, and with the team themselves could, once the individual gets the team based feedbacks, then the individual takes that back and works it with a sparring partner of their choice, or that who is basically like a coach who can guide them on some of their thoughts on processing that feedback, and then they play it back to the team and saying, okay, these are the 2-3 actions that I'm going to do based on the feedback to improve my performance going forward. And that becomes like every half yearly we kind of do that, so that the individual is in the team transparently committed to their improvement plans.
So the sparring partner, tell us more about that. The sparring partner is your coach, is your equivalent to manager? What are they?
Yeah, so we purposely chose to disconnect it from any form of hierarchy or any kind of setup. We asked actually people to volunteer as sparring partners, to be these coaches, mentors, guiders for people who want to pick it up. Because we formally, before the self-managed setup, we had around 5 people managers in the team, and then when we asked for sparring partners, we ended up having 12 sparring partners. Some of them were very, very young people. And the interesting part was that people who wanted to learn some new technologies like artificial intelligence and so on and so forth, they chose some of the younger ones as sparring partners, because again, it's linked to your own personal trust and development needs and so on and so forth, not just if I'm their manager or somebody else is their manager, maybe they have no interest in developing in areas where I have expertise in or I have knowledge in.
Okay. And how do your meetings run? Do you have one or two people dominate, or how does it go?
So we were running by the sociocratic processes. So we do the governance meetings and tactical meetings. That is our structure for ensuring more decentralized decision making and meeting process. And one of the things is that, like for example, I'm one of the talkative leadlings, and my facilitator is a very strong facilitator. He's an introvert, but he's very much clear in how we are running the meeting. And if I'm starting to dominate a meeting, he will cut me off publicly. And when that happens publicly, and people see that in the meeting and see that happen across the board, I think it creates a lot of trust in actually running in that kind of a way.
And do you use circle time?
Sorry?
Do you use circle time in your meetings?
Circle time, I don't know what circle time means, because we actually use the normal sociocratic process. Okay, so clarification round, objection round, integration of objections, so on and so forth. So I don't know what circle time means.
Oh, okay. And what's it like? So how do the rest of the organization work with you? Do they, if a director from an external department comes in, do they find it weird how your organization is working?
Yeah, I think they find it very uncomfortable, because this is not a natural way of working for most teams. So what we have always done is that we have invited people, especially corporate functions like HR, procurement, IT, and so on and so forth, so that they could understand how we were functioning from day one. The sooner we had these corporate functions part of our process, they were actually able to work with us instead of just standing there and saying this doesn't work, this doesn't work.
And what's been the effect on the presumably they measure, your senior bosses measure things by the KPIs. What's been the effect on the KPIs of moving from hierarchy to self-managing?
So I think no matter whether we are a teal dot in an or I describe ourselves as a teal dot in an orange circle, right? So that's we have a business unit within a large stuff. So the results that we have to measure ourselves is against still the orange, which is financial KPIs, and I'm quite proud to say that we exceeded all our goals financially, top line, bottom line. Also employee engagement surveys, we are one of the top most in the business. So for me, both on the business side and on the people side, we beat all those KPIs.
Excellent. And what's the impact on you? What are you able to do now?
So I think one of the things that people always complain about as leaders is that they don't have enough time to look forward, look future, look strategically, and that's what I spend my time on instead of worrying about operational decisions and discussions. So any manager who comes to me say, I don't have time to make future decisions. I said, yeah, but that's because you're too involved in the operations. So I think that's what enabled me to. It was not easy to let go of that control. I would say command is easier to let go of than control amongst the two stages. But it is a learning curve for me also, because starting off you feel like, okay, how will this work? Because we were kind of building the plane while we were flying. So it's but once you get used to it, then it gets more comfortable, and the team also gets to work with it, and then it's fine.
Okay. Let's pose a question then. Should we ask, what could you do to become more self-managing of people? Yeah. Are your practices clashing with the organizational culture?
Depends what you define as organizational culture. Organizational culture of 40,000 people is always clashing with one another, because you are having at least 50 to 70 business units. They're all running different things. So it depends on the definition of organizational culture. We have defined at the organizational level for 40,000 people 3 behaviors: frontline passion, focus on the customer, run the business as your own, and think what is the benefit for Danfoss. So these are the 3 things, and that I don't think there is any clash with those 3 elements of the culture when we do self-managed teams.
Right, excellent. Okay, well, it's clear you've done you've done very well there. I'm going to have to stop it there, because we need to take the next break. But Vivek, thank you so much. That was really helpful, and tells us. I always get asked, how do you do it within a hierarchical organization, and that's a really great example. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Afterwards, if anybody wants to get to know more details, happy to connect. LinkedIn is available. So thanks a lot, Henry, and thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you, Vivek.